What's up guys, it's your boy Mr. K back with another video, and today we'll be reviewing the Razer Raiju Tournament Edition. This will be purely based on all the things I've experienced and anything that I've seen in reviews or anything like that. I'll be sectioning this video in specs, pros and cons, and obviously my overall conclusion. But before we get started, please remember to like and subscribe. We're nearly at 70 subs and I really appreciate it when I see a new sub. It just helps with motivation and everything. But let's actually get in the review. So starting off with this controller, it typically can range around to 70 to 150 pounds. Obviously there was a deal on Amazon a couple days ago now, and it was about 64 pounds, but now if you search up on Amazon it's back to like I think 121, but in other stores it's like 150 and all those other prices. So I'm just giving a wide range, but hopefully you guys can find it on a deal. So the first spec about this device is the fact that it has keybind mapping, and this is where you can change what keybinds do. Usually you can do this already with an original PlayStation controller, but you can only do it in games. You can't literally keybind map your actual controller, and you can do this in the PlayStation app, and you can download this on Android and iOS store to get that sorted out. The next spec of this device is the fact that it weighs 370 grams. So it weighs a little more than an average PS4 controller, but it feels good in the hand. It's premium quality. It has more buttons. This has M1, M2, M3 and M4. M1 and M2 are on the front, and then M3 and M4 are on the underside of the controller. This works with PS4, PC, Nintendo Switch, and it also works with mobile devices. You can get typically about 19 hours of battery life, but usually I get about 15 hours. So the good things about this controller, the fact that the build quality is amazing. When I feel this controller, it's completely very tough plastic. It's very ergonomic, so I feel like this controller is based for people with bigger hands. So obviously the PS4 controller I always felt like it was a little too small for me, and I got cramps sometimes, like muscle cramps, because my controller is a little too small. But with this, it's got that much bigger compared to the DualShock 4, the original PS4 controller. So it's just better, just have more space. You don't really get cramps. It's just you can game for even more. Another great thing about this device is the fact that it's got trigger stoppers, and trigger stoppers is when it stops your trigger from going all the way down, so you can shoot again and again quickly. So usually with the DualShock 4 you have to press it and it goes all the way down, and then you have to go all the way down again. So obviously this builds up your kill time or whatever time you would need to do for any other games. This goes on to my next point, which is it's great for shooting games. This is because of the extra buttons, so it's easier to shoot your bullets or do a melee attack or anything, because the buttons are very accessible. The M1 and the M2 and the M3 and the M4 is very accessible, and it makes it really easy for gamers to have fun and everything. And obviously you can keybind map your controller, so if you want to make it even easier you can do that. The next thing that I would say is positive is that it has a great sounding button. I'll play it now. It sounds like a mouse clicking, and it's really satisfying, and I don't know why, but it's just really satisfying, and I just love shooting with this controller. It's way better than the DualShock 4 in that sense. And the final positive I have to say about this device is the fact that it has a nice weight to it. I always felt like the DualShock 4 was a little too light for my liking, but this has a nice and hefty weight to it that just makes it feel a lot better, a lot more premium. So now let's move on to the negatives. Unfortunately, you can't use it wirelessly while using the headset. It's a little bit weird because it's a gamer controller, so it should have that thing, because the DualShock 4 has that and it's much cheaper, and it just doesn't really make sense to me. It's really confusing, and I know it's not my controller. This is all controllers that do this, and it's just weird. Another thing that I dislike about this controller is it only charges with a specific cable, and I really find that actually annoying, because when I want to use my normal USB to charge it, it's like there's a blocker there that won't allow me to actually plug it in, and it's really annoying. So if you don't have that specific charger, it won't charge, and you have to buy that set. I really didn't like that on Razer's part. Moving on to my next negative is the fact that people have a lot of connection issues, especially me when I tried to connect this to my PlayStation 4 for like the first or second time. It's like I kept on trying to press the button and it just wasn't connecting, even though I followed the instruction through and through and did what it said. I was there for like 10 or 20 minutes and it just kept on doing it. And another thing that I dislike about this, to do with connectivity, is the fact that after a while it starts getting worse and worse and connecting to your PS4, and it's just weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know if Razer didn't check out the longevity of this device or what happened with it, but it just, after a while you just start having more and more problems with connecting, and it's just weird. Also, I personally have not experienced this, but there is a lot of drift problems with this device. I don't have it, but my controller analog stick has been damaged and it's not working to 100%, but it still works. But I have not yet experienced the drift that comes with it, but you should always be careful of that. The final negative I would say about this device is the fact that it's very fragile. One drop can absolutely demolish this. This is what happened to it after one drop. And it's just really annoying and upsetting, the fact that I'm paying £140, £150 for a controller that can break after one drop. Even though I said it is premium build quality, it feels ergonomic, it feels comfortable, it has all the things that you would want from a professional controller. It's still very fragile, so you should always like maybe buy a box, or just don't keep this on the table. Just make sure you don't drop this. So in conclusion, I would say that for people that play shooting games, this is a game changer. This has really improved my gaming experience. But I would recommend this for heavy gamers, not your casual average gamer, because obviously you're spending a hefty amount on this, so you should always think about that before. If you play more than 30 hours a week, I would say, yeah, you should always consider this, because it's always going to improve your gaming experience. You won't get as much cramps, you won't get as much other problems. Yeah, I would say buy it if you're a very invested gamer. But if not, if you're an average gamer like me, I would just stick with the DualShock 4. If I could go back in time and not purchase this, I would, but that is mostly because I don't game as much as certain other people or professional gamers, which this console is based on. But it's been your boy Mr. K. Thanks for watching, and yeah, please remember to like and subscribe. We're nearly at 70 subs and I really appreciate when I see a new sub.